Alright, this is my two trades for Tuesday, 27th. So really this day wasn't, I mean, it was kind of ideal. Pre-market Asia expanded, which isn't ideal. We kind of want to see some accumulation during that, but it's alright because London accumulated. But basically, um, on the 4 hour here, wow, that looks like shit. But on the 4 hour, there's this big imbalance right here. 1 hour imbalance right there, 15-minute imbalance right there. So there's all these imbalances right here, and I drew OT from this to here, and the 0.5 aligned literally spot on with that. So I was like, all right, shit. And London didn't really do much. London literally just chopped while Asia actually ran up. So I didn't really think much of London, but New York comes down here, sweeps London low, hits all this liquidity here. So, and also rebalances this range right here. So I'm immediately looking for higher targets. So I'm thinking previously high. There's a high up here, and there's also another high right here. But my main target was previous week high, and I also used midnight standard deviation, and that also told me that our targets were way higher. So like you can see, it came all up here, and actually top tick. Just a little side note, but it's fine. But let's actually get into the entry here. So, oh my gosh. So after we come in here, we don't get a reaction initially until this. We get this giant ass move up right here. But basically there's a 3-minute CISD right here, a BPR right here, which we tap into, and also the 0.5 of this OTE, all right here. And so enter right there. I didn't want to put stops all the way down here because like 30 points is kind of too much for me personally, and with all this shit right here, I was like, yeah, if it's gonna come down here, it's gonna take this low. So stops right here, enter right here, and then target, first target, previous week high, and that shit fucking raped it. So no problem there. And I could have targeted way higher. Like this shit would have hit. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather go with conservative, and that's still a fucking 1 to 5. But if you missed that, this trade isn't as ideal, at least initially, because I'd much rather take a trade in like the discount of the range. Fuck. So like if price came down here, but what happens for the second trade is we come up here, we kind of fuck around for a minute. Oh, I actually forgot to mark out 10 a.m. open. But we get 10 a.m. open. So what happens, it opens, fucks around, and then it puts in the low of the 1 hour candle and the 4 hour candle, because 10 a.m. opens a 4 hour candle. But it puts in the low of this 4 hour candle. And then on the, I think, 15-minute. Well, hold up. So there's also this breaker right here. So there's a breaker, and there's also a 5-minute imbalance right here that price rejects right after the 10 a.m. open. So I'm like, all right, that's probably gonna be low of the candle, so this is price safe. And then price comes down. Well, actually, this wick right here is a really good rejection wick. So price comes to the CE here of that rejection wick, rejection block. Or this wick theory, I don't know what to call it, but it comes down here, and that's also an order block. But also it comes down here, perfectly wicks this shit, and then yeah. So wicks into there. Bro, I forgot where the actual entry was. Hold up. Yeah, I think it was Yeah, here it is. So off this right here, I was gonna assume that's safe because it wicked into the CE of this. Also the OTE of this range here. This hits the 6-2, gets rejected. We accumulate a little bit, and then that right there. So then we can get stops. We go real short like here, but what I would like more is to go about 10 in case we do actually go to the 705 of this range or the 7-9. But if I didn't see price going any lower than that. So we get wicked in here. Targets. So here I didn't really have any. There was no imbalances and there wasn't really any highs. So this I'd probably just do like a fixed 1 to 5 or something. So like 50 points. But ideally you would have taken this setup here. But this one still is perfectly fine. And this entry is kind of better just because you can really see the open, low, high close here. And it's also like it's still a good entry. But yeah, these are my 2 entries for Tuesday.